Yep. Get him. Yep, next one. Get him. There's one. Get him. Oh, that one doesn't feel too bad. Are you better? Again, in the middle of nowhere. That one's a little bit further out than the rest have been. That might be a bit decent fish. Welcome back, everybody. So I'm super excited to be out insanely early this morning because we are going to go ahead and fish a new bait, at least new to me, and that's the Bodega from Sense. We've been doing so much finesse fishing with the urchin baits, the gelicanth, all that stuff, and I'm ready to do a little bit of power fishing. We've already got 2 rigged up. We've got a punching rig if we find some thicker mats and a Texas rig. So let's get out there and see if we can't get into a couple, hopefully get a decent sized fish or two. The sun's about to pop up and not too terribly long, so let's get after it. All right, so this is our Texas rig. I have it rigged up on a 3/0 EWG, fits it pretty darn well. As far as the body, it's craw style, but it's got those long flat appendages, which I think would punch grass insanely well. They won't get hung up or anything else like that, but they'll still have a really big profile underneath the water. I assume this is going to imitate, obviously, your craw. With those long appendages, it's not far off from a fin look, so it could be potentially a bluegill imitator a little bit too. But I'm sure the video doesn't do this any sort of justice right now, but this June bug red is an absolutely gorgeous color. Maybe we'll see it a little bit better when the sun comes out, but I am absolutely in love with this color. But let's go ahead and start flipping this thing around and seeing if we can't get into a couple. One. Get it. Oh. We still got him. Yep, we still got him. There's a decent fish. All right. Man. These fish, oh no. There's a little 2-pounder, 1.75 pounds probably. All right, we'll let him go. That's not good. We had 2 bites so far and ripped the head of this guy off already. We'll be able to cut it down a little bit, I'm sure, but let's see the damage. First off, in the sun, this bait is absolutely gorgeous. Now, with that being said, we did rip the head off already. The head is kind of narrow, so when you're putting it through like a flipping hook or something like that that's got a keeper, it might tear kind of easily. It's not the softest plastic in the world, but I'm not super pumped about that initially. Finding these fish has been insanely difficult. The only bites I've had, and this goes back to our fishing the other day too, the only bites that we've really had are in a little bit deeper water. It's been cold for the past couple days, like lows in like the 50s. So the water temp have been dropping. They aren't super shallow. They're still relating to like the lily pads and grass, but not in it. It's close to it, but not in it. And that's where that one was. Kind of on the outskirts of the lily pads, a little bit more isolated stuff. So hopefully we're figuring out, or maybe they're just starting to turn on a little bit better now that it's getting, the sun's coming up a little bit better and we might get a little bit warmer. But that's our first one. That's good. Wish the day was a little bit better. The fish were a little bit easier to find, but that's what makes fishing worth it. The work at it sometimes, but see if we can't get some more. We'll keep seeing if that's a pattern, I guess. I'll get one. Yep. Oh, that's not bad fish either. There we go. And that was, get him. That one didn't come undone. Or didn't break the head or anything. Oh gosh. We reeled way too high. I'm hooked well in the cheek. Grab some pliers for him. All right. Ooh. We're looking like amateurs out here. There we go. Don't thrash. I know you're getting ready to. Got him well in the cheek. Holy cow. This is a 3/0 super line from Gamakatsu. I'm afraid it might bend. There we go. All right, here's a 2-pounder. Solid. But there we go. It's kind of hard to fish this stuff. So that's our 3rd bite in probably like 5 or 6 casts. Again, the water's been dropping, or the water temps have been dropping. Water's also been dropping a little bit, but they're not in what you would typically be finding them in June by any means. Typically they'd be in that stuff, tight to the reeds, all that, but they seem to be much more tail end of lily pads on, kind of out. So fishing with a Texas rig is not the easiest because you're just kind of casting into the abyss and hoping, but seems to worked out for the past couple fish, that's for sure. We'll go ahead and show, I'll try and take a little video of what this thing looks like in the water. I absolutely love the action of it. It definitely looks different than your other craws. So it's one of those baits, again, if you're trying to look a little bit different. So many craws nowadays have those flanges and stuff on the end of those craws, or claws, I guess, to go ahead and move a ton of water. So this is a much more of a flowing action. So definitely different. We've had, again, 3 bites, 2 fish. Head's starting to get a little bit torn up, so we're going to see kind of how long this guy lasts. But hopefully we catch a bunch more now. Got one. Yep. Got him. Yeah. Oh, get out of there, buddy. Flip. Ooh, skin hooked. Skin hooked. Another 2-pounder. Oh, that one was a little bit closer to the pads. He swam into the pads once he grabbed it. That's a 2 1/4. Nice little fish. There we go. How's our bait looking? Oh, all right. That does not look, oh my, what are we doing? There we go. That does not look ideal. We've got stuff wrapped around other stuff. Our head is definitely ripped off. All right, let's see if we can't salvage this. All right, there we go. All right, so 4 bites, caught 3 fish, and that head is gone. So we'll trim it down. It's kind of a tougher plastic, so I'm a little surprised that it tore so quick. But that head is pretty narrow, so see if we can't catch some more fish on a shortened version of it. Again, even with it being cut down, the 3/0 fits it pretty darn well. Oop. We could probably go to like a 2/0 now, to be honest, but there we go. Looks fine. Yeah, I'm gonna have to, if I haven't already, I'm definitely gonna have to throw in a little clip of how this thing moves under the water. It's pretty wild. But I think they're starting to turn on finally, so hopefully our pattern starts to, or keeps holding together. They're starting to get a little bit closer to the pads though, so that's good. Maybe they'll just keep getting better as the sun comes up. There's one. Oh, there we go. Finally got a bite from a little guy, no less. Oh, so yesterday we had to make an emergent stop to our fishing, little guy, because I don't care how good of an idea you think it is, fast food before fishing is never a good idea. So we had to stop basically after that last fish that we caught the other day. So today we are basically replicating the same thing we did yesterday, trying to learn a little bit from what happened yesterday. So the fish yesterday, we couldn't find them anywhere. We couldn't find them shallow. We couldn't find them in wood. We fished dense grass and vegetation and lily pads and everything else like that. And all we can find them is in this kind of like isolated lily pads, like probably like, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 yards offshore in this like a little bit more sparse stuff. And that's the only place we could find them. So today we kind of are doing the same thing, trying to cut down, trying to find fish, and we're just kind of fishing this stuff. I did fish some wood already this morning that almost always holds fish, and we didn't have any fish over there either. So I think this is just our spot. I think this is just what we're left with. We don't have any electronics on the kayak at all, so trying to find them in deeper water is pretty darn tough. But I think this is what we're going to go ahead and fish. Obviously that one was kind of following the same pattern the rest of them did, but see if we can't catch some more. Hopefully catch a big one. But I think this cold weather just kind of has them in lockjaw, and probably slid out, moved a little bit, maybe deeper water, not necessarily into like a southern or a summer pattern or anything like that, because this lake isn't very deep. It's not like they have ledges or anything else like that, but it's just cold. Fishing in a hoodie in the end of June is pretty insane. I think like right now it's only like 53 degrees, so definitely abnormal for what the fish are dealing with, and I think that's what we're dealing with right now. But let's see if we can't catch some more, get lucky, maybe get a big one. Got one. Get him. Oh boy. There's one. Oh, and we got him. Oh boy. Same thing. Not a big one, but isolated pads in the middle of nowhere. There we go. Little 1 3/4. Let him go. Whew. All right. I think we're getting to, this is probably the end of this bodega. We cut her down once and she's pretty well torn up, so we're probably done with this one. So how many fish was that? I think that was 6, 7 fish, and then missed a handful of bites. So that is not bad for a single plastic, but we'll go ahead and throw another one on, keep fishing this middle of nowhere and hoping to catch some more fish. There's one. Yep. Little guy. Again, the isolated pads, just where they are. I just wish we had a big one. I've had a couple bites that might have been good fish. There's also a small chance they were turtles, little guy. But they drop it so insanely fast, can't even get a hook set on them. So I don't know if they are turtles or if they're turtles running over my bait or swimming over my bait, not really sure, but haven't been able to set a hook on anything that feels big. All right, another one. See if we can't go to some more isolated stuff and catch more. Another one. Not a big one either. Oh, 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 bigger than I thought. A little bit bigger. There we go. A little bit bigger than we have been catching. There's a 2. Again, that wasn't even close to those lily pads out there. That was probably halfway between us before that fish bit. So he was related to absolutely nothing. Uh-oh. These bodegas might have to that was our first fish on this one. Might have to re-hook. So that top piece of the bodegas is really, really narrow, which when you're putting it on a flipping hook or an EWG or something like that, that's obviously going to be the piece that gets torn up the fastest. So we'll see if we can't, we should be able to catch one more fish on this before we have to trim that down and re-hook it. But wish that nose was a little bit more durable of a plastic or a little bit harder of a plastic, but they seem to like it, and it's not a super expensive bait, so that's not something that bothers me that much. If we were talking it being, you know, $15 or $20 a plastic, which seems to be very common these days, I'd be a little bit more upset about it. But when you're getting, what, 6 baits for, I think it's 6 baits for $6, that's not terrible. Another one. Oh, we didn't set the drag. Oh, and we lost that fish because of it. I didn't set the drag after we had caught that last one. That was dumb. Shoot. Man. I was almost in the exact same spot. Again, like a ways off of that set of lily pads. And that nose did hold together, but I'm sure we had an absolute awful hook set. This is probably not a situation I would really be throwing Texas rig. Carolina rig would probably be a little bit more effective when I'm just fishing essentially open water like this, but I didn't bring a setup for that, unfortunately. And there might be some other baits that are a little bit more effective for this. I don't know if they would eat a moving bait a little bit better, potentially. They don't seem super aggressive, but just fishing open water is kind of difficult with a Texas rig if you don't know the fish are there. But we're still having plenty of bites. It's just a weird way to fish. Yep, next one. Get him. Next set of lily pads on over. Oh, that's a better fish. Oh gosh. That's a better fish. Oh yeah. That's a solid 2. He was hooked well. Such a weird way to fish. Ordinarily if that's a 2. Maybe just slightly under. Ordinarily, if I was fishing some isolated lily pads or something like that, I probably would never be bringing a Texas rig out here. It'd probably be a chatter bait or spinner bait or something like that. And then once you found some, maybe throwing a Senko or something like that for follow-up. But hey, it's working. I'm not mad about it. And like we thought, that head did come apart there. So we'll go ahead and see if we can't rig the other side. And if not, we'll cut down a little bit. Yep. Yeah. Seems to be good enough probably for a fish or 2 at least. It's not perfect, but what's going on? There we go. There we go. Next lily pad on over. Make sure to check our drag so we don't lose more fish than need be. First one. Yep. Oh my gosh. There's so much wind. I tried to go in a little bit shallower. Little guy. Tried to go in a little bit shallower because there's so much wind, it's difficult to position on these isolated lily pads, and didn't have a bite in there. Came back out, and first set of lily pads I casted at, got a bite. So I think this is what we're just going to do for the rest of the day, because this is where the fish are at, clearly. And that nose is still hanging together. Maybe by a thread, but it is hanging on. Got one. Oh, had one. Oh, I wanted to catch one on a flipping rod. So we came into this stuff, and it's too thick to throw the Texas rig in anyway. So threw the punching rod. First pitch, had one. Didn't stick him. Probably a small one. But maybe they're in the thick stuff now. We kind of ran out of all those lily pads and stuff like that, so we didn't have much of a choice besides to move. But let's go ahead and see. Maybe they're sitting in here now. Maybe we can still get a big one. Got him. There's one. Oop. flip. Again. Oh. They are just a little bit deeper than everything else than they have been. Let's grab a quick pair of pliers. Get him undone. Oh. There we go. Oh gosh. Alright, let him go. It might be the last one potentially. They're just, for whatever reason, oh, we tore up the head on that one. For whatever reason, they're just not shallow at all. And I think it's just the colder weather that we've had. A couple days ago, they were all up in the reeds and rock and everything else like that. And now they're 15 yards off, just sitting there. A little bit more difficult to find just because you end up with so much more water. They're not really relating to much of anything. They're close to it, so I mean that makes it a little easier than just throwing in the middle of nowhere. But that might be the last one, but we'll see if we can't catch a couple more before we head home and then talk about our bait. There's one. Get him. Oh, that one doesn't feel too bad. Are you better? Again, in the middle of nowhere. That one's a little bit further out than the rest have been. That might be a bit decent fish. Come on now. Don't come up. Don't come up. That might be a decent fish. Oh gosh. It's not a small one. It's not as big as I was hoping. It's a solid 3 though. There we go. He was a little bit further out than the rest of them even. That's a solid fish. It's the biggest one of the day. Biggest one on the Bodega. Let her go. All right. Well, we'll keep drifting down and fishing this deeper water. And I wish we had some electronics because this would have been wildly easier and wildly more efficient. But we found them. Just took a little while. And they're munching in the middle of the day, which is kind of weird also. All right, we made it back home after the past couple days fishing with the Bodega. Both days, I think we caught 5-ish fish, something like that. I did check our fishing predictor app, forecast app, whatever you want to call it, and it said both days were 1-star days, which is the worst it possibly could be. So maybe a 5-fish day was absolutely phenomenal for the conditions that we were given. I did talk to some people out on the water, and it seemed like they were struggling pretty badly also. So maybe our 5-fish days should be really happy with, and maybe this bait is phenomenal and you give it a situation where the fish actually want to bite and it'd be lights out. That is very possible. But as far as our days, we ended up catching a fair number of smaller fish. We did end up with the kicker right at the end, which was phenomenal, casting off into the middle of nowhere. I don't know that I've ever thrown Texas rigs without some sort of structure, some sort of pinpoint that you're trying to catch a fish out of. I think that situation was set up a little bit better for a Carolina rig, but I didn't have the setup for it. But the fish that we got in front of, they bit. So that's phenomenal. As far as the bait goes, I like it a lot. So as far as durability goes, we ended up only using 2 out of the 6. We did have 1 placed on a punching rig, which we didn't really use the punching rig because we didn't find a situation where it worked well because there wasn't very much grass. And the fish didn't seem to be shallow in there at all, so there wasn't really much of a point. So we caught all of our fish on 2, and there's still the 1 that is pretty usable that's still on my rod. So not bad as far as durability goes. I think the tag is actually on the back. $6.99 for 6 of them, so a little bit over $1 a piece. That's actually pretty reasonable, as crazy as it sounds, with so many plastics costing $10 to $20 a piece now. So yeah. Great little bait. I liked it a lot. I think the thing I like the most about the bait, and hopefully the video does it justice, is this June bug red color is absolutely gorgeous. And clearly the fish liked it. You could see the sparkle and shine in the water. It was a little dingier, but you could definitely find that bait, and I'm sure the fish could too. But yeah. I think this bait would be an absolutely phenomenal bait for anything in grass because you have those long appendages that aren't flanged like a lot of baits are nowadays to move water. So it's going to slip through that grass really, really easily. You could always pull off these extra appendages to make it a little bit more streamlined. But yeah, I think that's where it would shine. And unfortunately, we didn't get to use it in that situation, but it caught fish, so I'm not too concerned about it. As far as the durability again, so with this little bit of plastic at the top, which it's tapered down, and it's going to help you, again, slip through grass and everything else like that. So that's one pro of it. A con is going to be there's so little plastic there. As soon as you put an EWG or a flipping hook or anything else like that through it, the first fish or two is bound to rip that apart. You can always tear it down and then rehook, and a 3/0 EWG seemed to do pretty well rigged initially, and then once I had to tear off that top, still seemed to fit relatively well. You could always downsize your hook to a 2/0, and it would fit that torn down version a little bit better, but it did fine. We caught a lot of fish on, or a fair number of fish on it. Caught one decent one. I like this a lot. I wish there was a little bit more grass, because I think that's where this would shine compared to a lot of other plastics. But I would most certainly recommend it. It's a big profile. Big profile, small amount of plastic that you're actually putting on the hook. So there should be a relatively decent hookup ratio. We didn't really miss many fish at all. I think there are a couple that we attempted to set a hook into and missed, but that was about it. So it was pretty high as far as our hookup ratio. But I like this bait a lot. I want to use it in some more grassy conditions to see how much better I like it versus other plastics. But very, very interesting. And I absolutely love that color. But if there's any other baits that you guys would be interested in seeing me use, by all means, drop that in the comment section below. I'm always looking for new things. I think I have a fair number of new baits I'm excited to start trying out in the next couple videos, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, try these things out. I'll drop an affiliate link. I'm sure there's probably one for this, but in case you guys do want to pick some up. But as always, if you guys like the video, if you wouldn't mind liking, and if you want to see more videos like it, if you wouldn't mind subscribing, that'd be greatly appreciated also. Till next one.